Dominique, Tony, how are you?
Morning,
how are you?
nice to
Thank
see
you
you.
for having us. This is our project, eh?
Yes.
In an ideal world, how would you see this?
It would be nice to see maybe a fence that kind of splits the front yard up a little bit. Maybe some pavers that kind of run from the road to the front door.
Yep. So we're splitting this into 3 makeovers.
Yes.
The first one, we're going to go super cheap. But I want high impact from it. So I'm thinking we can maybe change the colour if you're happy for that. Change some colourings in the house, maybe a few modest plantings to start with. And I did spy that light when I walked up, so I wouldn't mind changing that.
Bit of an eyesore.
Are you guys happy to get stuck in, do some digging?
Sounds
All right,
good.
let's get to it. All right. Guys, shovel each.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, because we've got limited budget on this first one, we're going to focus it all on the front of the house, all right? And then as the budget increases, we'll work out from the house. This garden bed needs clearing out. We're going to get rid of all the plants.
Oh, Dominique.
Have you used one of these before or not? No? Oh, OK, real novices. OK, so this is the holdy end. This is the cutty end. It's in the ground. That's the kicky bit.
Okay.
In like that and push down.
Mine didn't look like that.
Practice makes perfect.
I'll go with the other side.
This could take a while, guys. Especially with me on. It's a really wise colour of choice for both the shoes, guys.
I know, they won't be white for very much longer.
No. Yeah. The best gardening shoes. Giving it a crack. In the spirit of our minimalist budget, I'm going to salvage these agaves, and they transplant really, really easily. All you need to do is make sure you maintain a bit of trunk. Now, don't go and put that straight in the ground. You want to leave it out in the sun so you get a scab over the cut edge, and then put it into some sandy mix, and you'll get some roots and a brand new plant. All right, tie that off. Right, so I need a volunteer now for painting and one for gardening.
I'll paint.
That was quick.
It's like I'm gardening.
Many people pick painting that quickly. Right, Tony, can you start digging this out? So, Dom, we did have the option of perhaps rendering the house, but it is really expensive. And for me, with a house with windows like this, I think it would just look too plain and you wouldn't get much benefit for the amount of money it would cost.
Yeah.
So instead, we're going to go paint. And the most cost-effective way to go is just to paint the trims. And with this, I think the whole thing's going to be white, so it's a big contrast. And we're going to bring that white down to the bottom here just to freshen it up. But to change the green, I'd like to do that in a colour called Monument, which is quite a dark charcoal. Now, with anything that's metal, like this or the gutters, you've got to give them a bit of a sand first to scratch it up. That way the new paint can key to it. Stuff like this, we'll just clean off. Yeah, the shoes are changing colour.
Yeah.
Good work. This is looking great. Thank you. So the idea behind this edging is we could have just done a spade edge, but I don't want all this grass to grow into the garden bed. So for 50 bucks, this simple aluminium edge nailed in with these, it's a much better option. Perfect.
Down, but we get up
Right, with our hole finally finessed to the right depth, thank you, Tony, I'm going to put this plant in it. This is a type of magnolia called Princess Cinderella. It will get to about 2 meters by 2 meters, but you can keep it pruned pretty much to any size you like. And so it's going to be lovely by the front door, and when it gets up, it'll just break up this brick. The last thing to go in the ground are the agaves that we saved, and you'll notice I've just taken off the damaged leaves around the base to tidy them up. With the hole, you need to go quite deep because you simply pop the trunk in there and you need it to stand up nice and straight. I'll firm around that and that will shoot roots out and that'll be absolutely fine. Another plant that we've put in the ground just to fill in the gaps is this lovely Lamandra verde. It's got a really rich, deep green leaf. So guys, we spent $500–700 on plants. What do you think?
It's amazing.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? I mean, if you had less budget, you could spread your plants out. You could even use more of the fillers because they cost less. All we need to do now is put some mulch down, and I have one other thing to do. That light.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
the lights.
Of course, when you're working with electricity, you need to have a licensed electrician to do the work. And it's small touches like this that really lift an area. And it's made this whole space feel like it's got a sense of quality. We've spent $1,500 and greatly improved the front of this property. We cleaned it out, put in new edging, loads of plants, and of course it got a spanky new paint job. Now we're back next week to spend even more money and to show you what can be done on a medium range budget.
Lunch is ready.
Oh, perfect. So guys, $1,500, we made a big impression to the front. Do you like it?
Looks
Yeah,
amazing.
looks great.
Yep. Well, I really want to up the ante now, so I want to make some big changes. I'm thinking your driveway is looking a little bit tired and obviously doesn't fit the colour scheme, so that's the colour I would like to make it.
Nice.
I would like to take your front porch, although the tiles are of the era, shall we say, I'm thinking we could update them with something like this.
That looks much
Again,
better.
it goes with the colour scheme.
Nice.
Then, excuse me as I explode, I'd like to do a front path from your patio out to the street using these.
Lovely.
Awesome.
Happy?
Yeah,
Sounds
definitely.
So we're looking at maybe another $3,000-4,000, but I'll help out. Deal?
Deal.
Okay, I'm just gonna put this down quickly. Tony, time to cover up the giraffe print driveway.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, we're using a really complementary colour to the new colour scheme, right?
Yes.
It's a heavy-duty paint, so it can go on the driveway and it will wear really well. You can use it for things like insides of sheds and stuff like that as well. But what we need to do, we're going to roll the driveway because it's so big, but we need to cut in all the edges so it doesn't go everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah, sure.
How are you at cutting in?
I'll try my best.
You'll try your best? Okay. So Dom, I've got Tony painting your driveway and get you to paint this porch. So your tiles here are actually in really good nick. You can tell they're not drummy at all. There's none flaking off. It's in good nick, which means we can tile over the top. But
Yep.
we need to put a primer down so the tiles stick because you don't want them to move around in time. So with this, you need nice wide brush strokes. That's why I've got a big wide brush. You're just going to cut in around the edge and then paint over the whole lot, making sure you work on a wet edge, because this dries in about half an hour, so you want to keep working the bit that isn't dry. Start up at the door and work your way out. I have
Easy.
learned the hard way, because I have done it the other way and been stuck before.
Okay.
But,
We don't want that.
Learn from me. There you go.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm
Thank
going
you.
to dig out this pathway, because I've seen how you and Tony both dig, and I'll have a race with you, see if I can get this done before you get that done.
Alrighty.
Now, you may remember last week that on Tony's wish list was a front path because he didn't want to walk around the driveway to get to the front door. So his wish is my command, and I'm putting in a path for him. Now, we do have a garden bed here that we put in last week as well. Those plants will easily lift up and move into the remainder of the garden bed. I'm just doing a stepping stone path, and I'm making the construction super simple, just laying them on the dirt, on some mud to keep them nice and stable. But the first step is to dig it out. Oh, it's getting close, Dom. Who's going to win?
Think it might be you, Charlie.
Yeah, all muscle, all muscle. I'm actually putting in a stepping stone path, but for the entryway and the exit, I'm using a pad of 4 because it feels more comfortable when you first come into the garden and when you step up onto the patio. Tony, I was coming in to give you a lesson on how to use a roller, but you're smashing it.
Seems pretty good, eh?
You lose all that Flintstones look and it starts to look pretty smart.
Yeah, very nice.
So, Dom, you've done a fantastic job on priming the porch,
Thank you.
but to keep the quality theme going, we've got a tiler in to finish it off.
Sounds
I
good.
mean, you could do it yourself, but if your tiling is anything like my tiling, you definitely want to get a professional in. It's doing a good job.
Thank you.
No, he is.
Sorry.
You'll notice I've laid the path nice and level, so when you walk along it, it's comfortable. But what that's done is left us some divots either side because of the slope of our land. Now, you could fill these with a turf underlay, but I'm just using a coarse river sand because you can get it in smaller quantities. This stuff's really good because when you pack it down, it stays nice and hard, but it remains free draining, which is perfect for grass. Right, finish off, we'll just put some grass around it, and how much better does the path look?
Looks amazing.
You happy with it?
Yeah, very nice.
Even when the sun don't shine.
The moment of truth, John. Have a look at these tiles.
They look amazing.
They look great, don't they?
They made such a difference.
Yeah, I spent a little bit more on these. I think it's worthwhile. You know, it's a high traffic area. You're going to see it a lot, and it just makes a massive impact, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Beautiful.
Yeah, lovely. All right, well, you grab this one.
Thank you.
I'll start pulling this one up.
Loving is forever, you should know by now. And I'ma always love you cause it's you and I.
Dom, just to finish off our medium range makeover, spent about $500 on plants, but it ties in nicely with what we did last week. It's looking pretty smart.
It's amazing.
Looking good, guys.
You like it?
Yeah, very nice. How do you think the driveway is looking, Charlie?
Well, there's no more giraffe print. I reckon we've done a pretty good job.
Thank you.
Well, we can all agree this looks pretty good, but believe it or not, it's going to get even better next week when we up the ante with the budget and go all in. So Dom and Tony, you have been our guinea pigs through this budget-conscious experiment. Are you happy with what you see?
Yeah, we've been loving the guinea pig experience.
Yeah,
It
good.
looks incredible.
This week, we're really going to up the ante, so we're going to go new fence at the front, matching screens on the carport, lots of planting, and then we're going to rip up all these weeds and put down a nice lawn for you.
Yeah,
Sounds good. We're basically taking a patch of weeds and we're going to turn it into a lovely green lawn. Now, to remove the old weeds, you need to get yourself a Graham. Graham's generally attached to a turf cutter, and he's taking what would take a full day and turning it into about half an hour's worth of work. So, Tony, you were the one who asked for a path to the front door, but I think having a fence really finishes it off. Are you a fan?
Yeah, definitely. It'll give us a bit of privacy and it'll complete the Australian dream of owning a own home. And
Absolutely, the Australian
white picket
dream. I love
fence.
it, the white picket fence.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some concrete on these.
all right.
Thank you. Let's get some water in this hole. Can I get you to give it a bit of a mix, poke around? Right, with the post done, we're going to move on to the rails. So, Dom, you did such a good job painting in week 1 that I'm going to make you paint this fence.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
So, because picket fences are all fiddly, it's much easier to paint these long sticks before you cut them up. So, leave you with a roller, some paint, and I'll go help Sean out the front.
Thank you.
So, Tony, you might think if you're building a fence, you need a carpenter, and if you've got no skills at all, I'd recommend it. However, I sort of designed this in a different way that even goobers like myself can build it. So, that I put a bracket on, I'm going to skew that in. You have the bottom rail, which you can see has a bit of a groove in it.
Yep.
We'll do exactly the same through the bottom like that. Get it nice and level, and then our pickets will go up, and in there we can shoot them off. So it's really nice and simple. There we go. Only another 6,422 to go. Boring. I might leave this to Sean. I think I've got some edging to do. You all right with that?
All good, at least I know it'll be done properly.
I'll go make us a cup of tea.
You're not wrong. He's not wrong. Big budget gardens are all about lots of plants. So I'm creating some really generous garden beds that are going to sweep around with our cost-effective aluminium edging. Getting the ground ready for turf is really important, so it'll be healthy for years to come. And that means turf underlay, which is a mix of sand and soil. This makes it easy for the roots to penetrate through.
Reaching for heaven and everything I do, like a gift from above, too good to be true.
Tony, I reckon we did a pretty good job on this fence. What do you
Yeah,
think?
it looks pretty good. Lucky for
Painting
us.
wasn't too bad either.
Thank you.
Well done. I also asked Sean to knock up this screen at the back so it sort of ties the carport with the garden, so it all sort of feels like it was done at once and not separately.
Was a part of me that always had to get away, but now I'm thinking that I'm not deep.
This old metalwork really does date the house, and to replace it, well, I'd want to talk to an engineer because we've got a concrete roof here and it's connected right through. So instead, I'm going for a much easier option. We're simply cladding over the top of it with these decking boards. It ties in with the front door perfectly.
Hey, that's a nice post, Charlie.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Great.
But now I'm going to banish you inside.
Okay.
So we've got plants, we've got grass, there's going to be a big impact. It's going to happen really quickly, and I want to surprise you guys.
Okay.
Oh, we're excited.
Go on, back inside then. Keep the blinds closed as well. We're showing you how by pushing your budget, you can achieve your garden's full potential. Dominic and Tony have been helping us along the way. We've kept the final reveal as a surprise. Now, I know I have been banging on about this being a big budget makeover, and for me, that is all about the plants. So I have rammed these garden beds full of planting. We've got a mixture of texture, colour, different heights, different shapes. I'm using this incredible Plectranthus called Velvet Diva. Have a look at those flowers, they're absolutely amazing. If you don't like this, well, I'm terribly sorry, but we can't be friends anymore. To bring in an architectural element to our planting, I'm using this. This is the Brescianoria, or Mexican lily. You can't deny that our front fence looks pretty special, but I think it looks even better with plants around it. On the inside, we've got this Princess Magnolia, which we used in the first week, as well as this rounded Westringia and the Verde of the Lamandra. But I'm adding in some flowers. This is a little native called Brachycomb. The variety is Break a Day, and it's got these great little flowers on it. It's just going to add a sense of softness to the front of the bed. To finish off our big budget garden, I'm giving it the boost it deserves with some Sir Walter Buffalo lawn. We're just going to do the curves and the edges first, then we fill in the gaps. It really is as easy as that. Right, let's go get them. You guys ready?
Yes, we
Yes, we
are.
Come have a look.
All right.
We hope they like it.
Wow.
Oh, wow. What a difference.
Looks
Yeah.
amazing.
It looks awesome.
You like it?
Yeah, beautiful.
Incredible.
What a difference. Do you remember what it looked like when we started? I mean, we did the first makeover, which was a clear out, some paint and a few plants.
Yeah.
We then upped it. We did the driveway. You got your path and the tiling. And now this to finish it off.
Yeah, wow.
Amazing.
How good does the path look with the green and the Tiburcinas next to the white fence?
Look at you busting out the
I've
Tiburcinas.
learned a few things off with Charlie.
Yeah, learn how to dig a hole. In those white shoes, which is very impressive. They've stayed quite clean.
I know, amazing.
So, Dom, what's your favourite part of the front garden?
It's hard to choose, but I must say it might be the white fence. It's just a nice addition, really ties everything in really nicely and makes it feel like a home. It's beautiful.
We threw quite a bit of cash at this one, almost 10 grand all up, but we've totally transformed the front of this house. You know, we have done a lot here and we have really pushed the boat out on this front garden. If you guys at home think this is too much, hopefully you can get some inspiration from the things we've done in the other makeovers, and then you can go from there.
Sounds good.
Right,
Wow.
keys are being handed over to you now. You're gonna look after it.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Really appreciate it.
Creating a beautiful garden from scratch can be a daunting process, but a great place to start is to use what you've got. Now, many homes in Australia built around the 1900s have got some incredible antique features. Take these tiles, for example. Rather than rip them up, I'm going to work with them and give this home the front Federation garden it deserves.
I know I got the spirit. I hate the saying that you're lying and the light.
Now, you may think, why am I ripping up a lawn? Well, let me tell you, this is the furthest thing from a lawn. There's paspalum grass, there's milkweed, there's thistles. It's just a bunch of weeds, really, and I can tell the homeowner is pretty time poor. I can tell that by the height of the grass. So the first thing I'm going to do is rip it all out, and that'll give me a blank canvas to work out what's next. Oh, good timing. Federation homes and formal gardens go hand in hand. So for this front space, I'm going to have a really strong access through the middle and a focal point as a bench seat. As an intermediate point, I'm going to have a lovely pot, but I need to soften that with some more planting. So along the front of the house, we're going to have mixed perennials. And then on the street side, we're going to have a hedge, so it's nice and private when you're sitting on the bench seat. A project like this actually has quite a lot of materials to it. We've got road base, we've got bricks, we've got cement, we've got sand, we've got sandstone, we've got plants, we've even got furniture. So my number one tip, to save yourself some time and effort, head to a landscape yard. It's got it all. Because we're using sandstone as our edging, it needs a suitable base. Now, concrete's probably overkill and road base isn't enough, so we're just using extruded brick that's being laid on a sand cement mortar base. Don't worry, mate, I got this.
Charcoal and gas. It's getting hard in the valley. Still some snow on the pass. I got a couple scraped up knees and my first beach thing. I even got my first kiss from the girl that lived behind me.
Sandstone looks perfect in a Federation garden, but it also means that it's timeless. So this garden is going to look great for many years to come. Now, I love using sandstone because it's got a lovely texture and warmth to it, and it goes perfectly with this formal garden.
Too long out of the saddle, I wasn't feeling like myself, like myself. I'm looking for a back road so I can get back to myself, to myself. But ever since you came along, well, more and more I'm feeling like myself, like myself.
Viburnums are one of my favourite genus of plants. They come in evergreen shrubs, they come in deciduous shrubs, flowering ones, and ones that are perfect for hedging. This one is Viburnum odoratissima, perfect for a medium to tall hedge, lovely glossy green leaves. Now, I'm using this along the front so it gives us a little bit of privacy when you're sitting down on the bench seat, but we don't want it to get too tall because we don't want to block any light out from the house.
What about we? What about us? What about dancing
you.
in the dust? What about fireflies and what of that old porch swing?
I'm going for perennial plants with this planting scheme because it suits the Federation house. Now, when you're going for perennials, you want to get lots of different colours and textures, but the problem is this is quite a small garden. So I've gone for dwarf varieties. This pentas, for example, stays quite small, only to about 30 centimetres, but gets covered in flowers. I've also used the dwarf tibicina, known as Jules. Now, that's just about to flower, but when it finishes, we could start rounding that into a ball shape to add to the formality. Don't be scared of perennial plants, just start mixing them together, see what looks best before we put anything in the ground.
I've come too far to turn back now. I'll get back to you somehow. I know that I can get it right this time. It's a long, long
For our area of hard stand, I'm actually using Deco granite. Now, Deco granite sits perfectly with the colour tones of our sandstone, and it's permeable as well, which is always a bonus. The process here, though, is we're putting down a layer of road base. That's just going to make it nice and solid. We're going to go to just 50 mil below our stone, so then our Deco granite can sit 50 mils nice and flush. As you're putting your road base in, you want to screen it out with a rake and make sure you compact it down really well. Adding in features like pots and benches is a great way to make your garden feel loved and just give it a little bit of purpose. Now, I've got 2 bench seats. They're opposing at right angles because we're going for a very formal style. And my central pot is going to go in the middle of the window, so when you look out, you can enjoy it as well. For the plants, we've gone for Crashula Max Cook. Now, this is a really great succulent, super hardy to drought, and it's going to form a lovely mound shape here. I'm also using Dichondra Silver Falls to spill over the edge, just to add another bit of texture. Front garden design can be a little bit tricky because there's often spaces you forget about. You just walk straight through them. But if you put in a little bit of effort, you can have a space that looks as good as this, and you can have a space you can come and sit and enjoy. And if you've got architectural details like these fantastic tiles, work with them, not against them, because traditional garden design is like the blue shirt. It never goes out of style. I want you to spare a thought for your nature strip. We use them for our bins, they're a bit of a dog toilet, and we also put our stuff out for council cleanup. They really do take a pounding, but rather than being council's problem, why not think of them as an extension of your home? I've got the urge to verge, garden. The one thing I want you to take away from this project is check with your local council first. You know, there are 537 different councils across Australia, and they've all got their own policies on what you can and can't do on your nature strip. It's all pretty sensible stuff. Like, don't use plants that are going to grow taller than 1 metre. That way you don't block the view between drivers and pedestrians, and it's much safer at night. Another thing you need to consider is parked cars need space to open their doors. This council actually says you need 60 centimetres between the curb and the garden, which this certainly isn't, but you should check with your council. I have mentioned you need to check with your council, haven't I? And this is our little project. It's about 20 square metres, so I don't see why you wouldn't do it. It's going to extend this garden and make it feel much bigger. And like every garden project, it starts with the soil. So I'm going to remove all the weeds and grass and then decompact it with a fork. I also want to add some compost, but I'm not going to put in too much because we're not allowed to have a mounded verge. Part of good soil preparation is making sure you get rid of all your weeds. Now, it is much quicker just to rip the tops off. But if you get the fork in, you decompact and you make sure you get rid of all the roots as well, which makes sure these are never going to come back. Well, not for a while anyway. Part of our council guidelines are we need to allow access to the parking spots. So I've got a sleeper here and I'm splitting it down to each parking bay. I'm using a hardwood sleeper which is going to give us a lovely silver finish, and it also splits the garden bed up so it doesn't feel too much like a jungle. Now, one of the requirements is it cannot be a tripping hazard, but of course you'll be checking with council to make sure yours complies. Now, there's no real science to the layout of these. It's just more of a comfortable step to the road. When it comes to plants, you can choose whatever style you like. Of course, there are a few restrictions. Nothing spiky, nothing that grows too tall, and nothing toxic. Go to council, they'll tell you all you need. For this planting scheme, I'm taking inspiration from the inside of the garden. We've got some Loropetalum and some Alternanthera, so I'm going to use that purple. I'm going to use it in the salvias and the dahlias, and then also this fantastic little ground cover, which is called a Juga.
Stepping aside, see what it feels like. But more, letting others do the job.
Salvias have to be one of my favourite plants just because they're so easy to care for. This variety is called Mystic Spires. It's going to grow to about 1 metre, so it's going to be fine for our council guidelines. Now, these absolutely flower their heads off for ages, and they're so easy care. Once they finish flowering in sort of late autumn, early winter, you'll see new growth forming at the base. Chop off all the old stuff, and it will do it all over again. An added bonus, this is already bringing bees to the garden, so it's great for the environment. For a point of difference, I've got this cotyledon. It's got this fantastic silver glaucous foliage, and this variety is called Blue Waves. I like it because it contrasts with the ajuga and the purple of the salvias. It's a low-growing plant, about 30 centimetres, and it's tough as old boots. Now, I've planted a lot of plants in this garden bed just to show you what it could look like and give us a bit of instant impact. But you could spread the plants out and let them grow in, or you could even propagate them. What you need to do is just snap a bit off. You let that dry out, take off these end leaves, pop it in the ground, and it will grow. Ornamental grasses are a fantastic choice for your verge planting. They're low maintenance, they're hardy, water-wise, not to mention they're soft and fluffy so they don't scratch your car. This one is a Carex called Dusky Fountain. It's got this lovely cinnamon-coloured foliage and it adds a great textural element to our planting design. Now, you may remember I said I was going to add compost to this soil to improve it. Well, I'm actually doing it in the mulch. This is a Droughtmaster mulch. It's a combination of compost and wood chip, so you get the best of both worlds. I'm using it here so we don't mound up the soil, and that keeps us within the council guidelines. You remember those, don't you? You know what they say in real estate? The most important thing is street appeal. And take a look at this. It looks absolutely fantastic. It makes this garden feel much bigger, and the best thing is you can share it with your neighbours.
The front of your place can say everything about you or nothing at all. It's a big chance to make a great first impression. So Jason and I have taken on the challenge of a facelift for this cute little house, but this is going to be non-surgical.
I like the old houses, the ones that haven't been touched. But there's a lot of that.
It's not many of those around though these days. I mean, this sort of place is typical, isn't it? You've got bits and pieces that have been added on over the years. Morning, guys. Hi, how are you?
Hey, guys.
Home sweet home.
Yeah.
We weren't talking poorly of your house, but we were saying that it's like multi-generational because there's a few things there that just don't match. You've got the brand new front door, then you've got the old windows, the cladding. You can see where the veranda was, but you can't really tell what kind of house it is.
What made you fall in love with this place?
I think location and it's, you know, one story is really good. We've got young children, so it just really suits us, but it definitely could use a bit of a revamp out the front.
It's not all bad.
No, we've got this really sandy soil, that coastal soil, so it's a bit hard to get the lawn to grow. That sort of died off very quickly.
In terms of style, what do you guys love?
I would say we really love coastal style. Like we love, you know, big green succulents and coastal greys and whites. So I think that's probably what we love. We love the beach and that inspiration.
So luckily, he and I kind of know what we're doing, so we should be able to make that happen.
Awesome.
Deal?
Deal.
Yeah, deal.
Okay, get to work, Danny. Come
Danny,
on.
start digging. Fixing up Stu and Mel's place has to start with a clear out, of course.
It's the little trims and details that really can bring a mismatched house together. These windows, well, they've both been installed in completely different ways. So I'm ripping the whole lot off. To replace it, I'm adding this slightly more slimline contemporary profile. I think once it's painted up, the two windows, well, they'll match together just a little more harmoniously.
So the lily-pilly hedge, so rather than just pulling it out and throwing it in a skip bin, we're going to transplant them. Now, the best way to do it is soak them with water. That way the plant goes through less shock. Put them straight into the pot, backfill them with potting mix and water them. So do you get the drift? They need plenty of water so they don't go through shock. If you're going to put a skip bin on the road, you need to check with the council. There's a very good chance you need to get a permit.
the garden cleared up, we have a blank canvas to work with. You and I are big fans of doing the dark fences, aren't we? Because look how nice. When you put the greenery in front, it just really shows it off. So we're going to use greys as well for the front of the house. Now, Stu and Mel have told us they want a coastal theme. So to achieve that look, we'll add crisp white trims.
And I'm thinking a boardwalk for the front path, just like you'd see at the beach, with heaps of strappy leaf grasses and some bench seats to go with a new picket fence. There you go, there's the house.
There's the house, there's the garden. All of this might seem just a little bit overwhelming, but you know, any of these projects would be ideal to tackle over the weekend, especially painting. So many houses have powder-coated aluminium windows. These ones, Mission Brown. Now, the usual thing for people who are renovating is to rip these out, but there is a better way. You can, in fact, paint powder-coated aluminium. As with anything you paint, preparation is the key. So the first thing to do is make sure you thoroughly mask up your windows. Using a fairly fine grade of sandpaper, this is a 180, just give it a light sand across the top. Dust them away, and then the next thing, because they're metal, is you need to use an etch primer. This is a spray that goes over the metal and prepares it for the top coat of colour. Well, the etch primer is nice and dry, so now we can start introducing our accent colour of white. So I've gone for a satin enamel in a high-performance spray paint. This one is specially intended to go over metal. You must know by now that paint is probably my favourite part of any makeover. Incredible transformations are done simply with a coat of paint. How amazing is our little house looking already? A couple of coats of paint and it has been completely transformed. We don't even have the garden done yet and already I'm loving it. Now, one last thing that I'm doing now is just painting these steps to tie them in with our colour scheme. I'm using a matte finish non-slip paving paint. This one's oil-based, so it sticks really well. I think this grey, combined with all of these other shades, makes it look contemporary and very classic.
So the fence panels are gone, but I've left the posts. Now, I'm still going to run a string line through because I might be able to move them over and straighten up a little bit. What I'm going to do is put a rail on the front and paint the posts before I put the pickets on. It's always a good idea to put the coats of paint on your pickets before you put them up. That way, I can get all the nooks and crannies. Now, this is about as close as it gets to a cheap picket fence. We're not replacing the posts, they're staying in place, so we're just buying the rails and the picket. A little tip, when you're putting your picket on, bring it up to your string line, find the string line where it's moving, and then come down about 1 millimetre so you can see air between the two. Sunnies.
Jace, I'm sure I'm not alone in saying you do a picket fence very well.
Stop it. You pick colours better than anyone. Now, do you notice something about the stairs? The first step's this big. It's like a baby step. Then the next one's massive, and then the other two match. So I'm actually going to go over the top of this, on top of this one, which will make this massive one the same as these other two, and square it up.
So I didn't need to paint that.
Well,
oh,
2 out of 3.
But I think also we need to do something here. So I've got a plan for there, and your fence has given me a little bit of inspiration.
Nice. I can lift heavy things.
Can you? Like string lines?
Yeah, this is hard work. Not everyone can do this.
Really?
See, no knots.
Often it's not what you take away from a building that can make a big difference, it's what you can add. Those columns, for instance, well, they kind of do nothing at the moment. We could easily have removed them, but you know, one being a little bit taller than the other, they don't match. I thought we'd make something of them and give them purpose. So an awning will do just the trick, and we can make that easily. It's a pretty simple build. I'm just using exterior grade treated pine. I've undercoated it to make it a bit easier to paint afterwards. And it's a basic construction, triangle at either end, and some beams across the middle to connect the two together. Oh, just in time. So I'm going to hand this over to Greg now to install above the doorway while I get busy with the roof. Now, the material we're using for this is actually marine ply. It's so good to use outside because it's going to be moisture stable. For the underside, I've painted it white. Really good idea because, again, that's going to be like the ceiling and it's going to bounce light around and just brighten up that whole entryway. Now, for the top of it, I want to clad it so it ties in with Jason's fence. So I've got this cut to size, so it's just the timber planks. But where he's got that wide gap, instead I'm putting another piece of timber over the top. Kind of looks like shingles and it adds a really nice texture and profile. Now everything gets a coat of paint and then we can put it all together above the door. Looking good already. I love this awning. It's so much fun. It adds a lot of character to the building, don't you think? There you go, Greg. This is where it ties in with Jason's fence. But instead of doing the same colour as the fence, that lovely soft grey, I've chosen to go the darker grey, which is the same as what we've done for the gutter and also the side fences. That makes it feel really balanced and complete. I think it's added a really great touch to the house.
So the front part is going to look more like a boardwalk, which means it's going to feel like you're at the beach. Now, if you stain them or paint them before you put them into place, it means you can do all the edges nice and easy. I'm standing up straight, not killing my knees. Now, I'm putting staining with a roller. Normally you do with one of those expensive wool mat things. It doesn't really matter. The treated pine sort of sucks it in at all different consistencies. So, but when it's over the whole lot, it'll look uniform. It's just like building a deck, but instead of using a decking board, I'm using the sleepers. Now, to keep these in place, I'm using these anchor screws. They work just like Dynabolt. What you do is you drill a hole into the masonry, just slightly smaller than the screw. The screw goes in, forces itself in, and if you want to get it out, good luck. Just set up a string line so I can lay out all the sleepers and see how they sit before I screw any down. The speed that this goes down and gets put together, compared to doing a traditional paving job or even doing a deck just with your normal boards, is priceless. We've done this in about 90 minutes, where if it was decking boards onto a subframe, it'd probably be a day's work. No pre-drilling, just straight into the treated pine. I'm using big, heavy bugles. It's going to keep it all in place, and it looks fantastic. So a sleeper's about $11 down at Bunnings. This is some of the cheapest materials you can work with. It's nice and wide and it's inviting. And inviting at a front door means friendly.
Nice, looks like a boardwalk, just like you said, a beach boardwalk.
Yeah, now, I'm sure you've got a plan, but these look like a pimple on a pumpkin. They're too tall, too skinny, they don't match what we've done. It's all right, I've got it taken care of, all right? So the plan is, what we're gonna do is bring it out to about this width, clad it down below so we get that nice white accent going through. If we put tiles on top, you can do that green thing that you do so well. Do
Plants.
that green thing. Plant it out on top.
Yeah,
all right.
It's a one-woman, one-man job. So I'll hold, you screw. Hold on. Square. Ooh. That's better. Laughing. I'm getting there. We're in. See, it's not going anywhere now.
Good work.
Yeah,
All
teamwork.
right, so, like concrete sheet over the top of this if you want to tile it?
Yeah, absolutely. So should we concrete it? You know how to do it. I've seen you do that on Better Homes and Gardens. There you go. I'll get the hose. Don't breathe it in.
Wash that stuff into there. Jeez, he's really turned that on, hasn't he?
Well, I don't want to go crazy.
No, turn it on.
Because you're bossy, aren't you?
Go crazy.
No, I don't want to go too crazy. I want to do it
Splash it,
properly.
splash it,
No, I want to do it properly.
I need lots of water.
You realise we're sounding like an old married couple. I think what's great about this is it's a really good cosmetic makeover. You can actually do this. If you've got something like a little ugly plinth like this to the side of your door, just a bit of cement sheeting over the top, just held in place by some timber, gives it a whole new look. It's all about proportion, isn't it, Jace?
It is. This will give it scale.
Okay, so we'll just cut that in so that it fits into that column. So what this will do is just neaten off the edge here, just a little bit of aluminium angle just to cover up where the two surfaces meet. It's pretty ugly, so as a quick cover up, then we can clad over the top and the tile goes on there.
So we're going to put matching boards across the front of this, just like the picket, and up here on the top. So I need about 20 mil at the front.
Okay, if you could finish off the pickets on this plinth.
Sure.
Just going to get started on this one, all right?
Okay, nice. It's a stitch up. Why didn't I think of it?
For most families, the front door usually ends up the dumping ground for shoes and coats and hats and all sorts of other bits and pieces. So when you're doing a makeover, there is no reason at all why you can't make it pretty as well as practical. I want to create something in our entry hall where they can sit down, they can put the shoes away. So to make life easy, I've started with one of these. It's a flat pack cube cabinet. You can buy these from Bunnings. And to dress it up and give it a little bit of reinforcement, I'm using pine. I've already stained it so it ties in with our colour scheme. I've got a couple of pieces, one on either end, one across the top and the bottom, so it's clad uniformly all the way around. Just one more thing I want to add to this unit, and that is some lockable caster wheels. That way it's really practical. When there are leaves underneath, you can simply unlock the wheels and draw it out and give it a good sweep.
How would you like to build a little love seat or bench for the price of exactly nothing? Well, with the offcuts I've got from the boardwalk, I've laminated them together by using bugles. Now, I've got my 2 screws here, so when I put the next one on, I'll put my 2 screws here. I create 2 of them. This one here is pre-stained and ready to go. And then a 3-metre sleeper cut in half, laid over the top. Screw the top down and voila, you got a beautiful little bench. And this one works particularly well in a front yard because it's that heavy, no one's gonna pinch it. Join me. How good's that? The furniture matches the boardwalk.
Well, that's the shoes tidied up. Now for the coats and hats. Honestly, you can make something as simple as a shelf. It just needs to be a right angle out of 2 pieces of pine. One there, just joined, and you can add some metal hooks all the way along. If you want to make it a bit fancier, just keep building it up. Get a slightly narrower piece of pine, that gives it some shape. If you like a bit of curve, you can get these mouldings in different shapes. This one's called a scotia. Pop that in there. You could even add one of these little decorative beading trims. Really, it's up to you. You can just keep layering them. Once it's painted, it'll look very fancy and just like one you buy in the shops.
For this front of house makeover, the homeowners were keen on a coastal look. So I'm going to put in some plants that look like they belong at the beach. Then we're just about ready to show Stu and Mel. Now, it might sound funny because the tree's got all this surface around the side, but there is definitely a face to most plants. And it's just the way it looks the best. It might be in the nursery where it was on the edge and it got a little bit more sun than everyone else, and it's just its good looking side. You know how models have got the one look? Well, this tree's look is that. And so I've got it facing the most common spot in the garden where you're going to view it from, and that's the gate when you're walking in. That's a good looking tree. She's impressed. So we're going for a beach theme. We've got the sand already, the boardwalk. All we need is the plants and the water. Now, we've got lots of grasses here because when you're at the beach or along the coast, you see lots of bank-binding grasses. We've got lamandra, and then as far as the plants go, coastal rosemary, you can shape that up in balls or you can let it free form, and it'll max out at about 1.5 metres. So in a small space like this, give it a haircut a couple of times a year and keep it compact. And woolly bush. If you're ever in a nursery and you see a woolly bush, go and touch it because it's really soft, like the tail of a kitten. Touch it, soft like the tail of a kitten. Woo! And a couple of store-bought pots with a poa and a dichondra silver falls over the edge really frame the front door.
Mel and Stu are so lucky to have this little porch as an entryway. It's covered, it's sheltered, and the perfect place for a coat and hat rack. So Greg's just going to hold this in position. We've levelled it up so we know where we're going. We've put some wall fixings in, so this is going to be very strong. Bubbles in the middle.
Perfect.
Good work. Here is just marked up on either side of that fixing with my hook. That way it'll disguise the hole, so one less hole to fill. I love that. That's a great little coat rack. Combined with a bench seat underneath with plenty of storage, what was once a dark, pokey little porch now looks bright and inviting.
Oop, here they come.
Oh my gosh.
That's your house. Welcome
Oh my
home.
gosh, I love it.
Absolutely amazing.
It's the same place.
You
Wow.
sure?
Yeah. Does it remind you of the beach,
It
coast?
does. So coastal.
Come in, enjoy.
Oh wow.
Nice wide path.
Yeah. It's a
You
bit
can
nicer.
walk hand in hand to the front door now rather than behind each other.
Fantastic.
True, it's
Fantastic.
beautiful. Oh, I just love the colours, and I love the greys. Like, I absolutely love the greys.
I think this just proves the power of paint and just a few little clever disguises. You can work with what you have and it actually looks beautiful. I think it has character now.
Yeah,
I'm thrilled.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
fantastic.
We're thrilled.
I'm moving in.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
So you've got this nice entranceway now, and in there we've actually got storage. You can hang your coats and your hats in there, so it's actually a useful area as well.
Doubles as a cell. You can lock them in there when they're
You can lock
naughty.
them in there if you want.
I wouldn't call it a lawn before, but what you had before, you would have spent more time on it and got no result.
Yeah.
Where with this, if you spend 5 minutes on it once a month,
Yeah.
it's going to look great.
Amazing. Happy?
Yeah, we're very happy.
Yeah. Well done, guys.
Amazing. Thank
Great
you so
home.
much.
It's even better now.
Down the side of the house here needs a little bit of work. We've got some planting, we've got this dusty path and some leftover bricks. So I'm going to use these. It makes perfect sense. And they've got a lovely patina on them, which is going to add character to the path. Now, if you don't have bricks, you can buy them in, go to a brick recycler's, and you can find all different grades in all different colours.
I heard about you. You're something special. Feel the heat every time you speak. You got that magic. You got me hurt. No fight given to the beat.
The best part about this project is you really don't need much to get it done. Obviously, the bricks and some sand to lay them on, but as far as tools go, you need a level, a bolster, and a lumpy. When you're setting out your path, you want it to be parallel to something you know that is straight. I know the house is going to be much straighter than the fence, so I'm measuring off that. I also have a gate to deal with, so I'm going in the centre of the gate. Our path is 700 mil wide, and then I measured off the house to give me my measurements. I'm also going to dig down 100 mil. That's going to give me enough room for the brick and the sand to bed it on as well. You will also need a string line. Now, we've got two fixed points, this step here and where the path ends. So I'm going to run this string line between and measure down so I can get the sand nice and level.
If you and me, oh, you and me, just let love lead.
To get rid of all the lumps and bumps of the ground below, you need a bed of sand for your pavers to sit on. Now, you don't want just any sand. If you were to use a wash sand, it would be too fine. If you used a bricky sand, it would have too much clay in it. What you want is a coarse river sand. Now, this has got lots of different granules in it, so when it compacts down, it makes a nice, stable layer. Now, you want to take one brick and use that as your level. I'm then going to follow the string line up, screening it out with my level, but I also want to make sure I'm nice and flat across here, because that's where you'll feel it the most. With your screed bed looking nice and flat, you can then start laying your pavers. Now, I'm going to put a header course on end to end, so that's going to run all the way down both sides of our pathway. You want to take this arris of the brick against the string line, and then on the inside will be our basket weave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is a basket weave. It's really easy to lay, and the best part about it is there's going to be hardly any cuts.
Oh, 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 dancing over the rooftops, moving just like a bird.
We've got to the end of our pathway, and you'll notice we've got a couple of gaps here. So we need some halves, and that's why basket weave is perfect, because all the cuts should be halves, which makes them nice and simple. The way to do that is to grab your bolster and your hammer and place your bolster in the centre and give it some welly. Ah, perfect. You'll notice there's a gap around each paver, and the reason for that is because they're slightly different sizes. If we butted them up close, the path would be all wibbly-wobbly, so a gap will fix that. Now, to fill that gap, you don't want to use the same sand you used to screed because it's too coarse. You want to get yourself a fine wash sand that's going to get in between the gaps and lock it all together. Once that's all done, we'll finish it off by haunching the edges. When you're planting up by a side path, there's a couple of things you need to consider. In this location, it's incredibly shady, so all the plants have to be shade tolerant. But we don't want them to get too big because you don't want them to encroach in the path and make it uncomfortable to walk down. So I'm using some smaller plants with the ferns and the lamium as a ground cover. But because I want some tall impact, I'm using some upright plants in the form of this fragrant cardamom and this fantastic catanthe. Now, this is going to give us nice vertical accent, lovely variegated foliage, but it's not going to get in the way of the path.
Our love, this time is slipped away, but that was yesterday. I'll find another way. You're gone, and my world turns to grey. The pain is hard to take, but it'll fade away.
We just finished the garden bed off with some light-coloured pebbles just to bounce some light around. And it goes to show I'm a real triple threat. You know, I can cook, I can dance, and I can landscape. Well, I guess it's proof that I can do one of those things.